today. Dr. Blair.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, Brother Tony.
First of all, welcome. How you doing? Let's not them shake us up off of what we usually do. Let's start with the basics. How are you, sir?
My brother, I'm doing fine. Always in there slugging. Don't know how to stop fighting. I have to fight in my sleep. And interesting, I talked to one of the brothers who was trying to get me, and he had said he was in his sleep and got knocked out in his sleep and then woke up.
So, amazing. I've went through some things. There's a lot of negative synchronicity that went into us even getting on the air today. So by the graces of the ancestors and the Most High, we are here. But I got to ask you, and I'm not going to waste any more time we've already wasted, is this what it's going to be like from here on in?
Anytime you tell the truth, they're going to fight you down to the wire. And the good will always win out. The good always comes late, okay? And this is what happens. They watch and see how much courage you have and what you're going to do. The rest of them know they have courage. The rest of them know. You know, it always amazes me. They have shows that reach billions. They have shows that reach millions every night, and they go on. I reach hundreds, and by word of mouth, I might reach thousands when somebody telling somebody else. But they give me such a hard time, and anybody that tries to help, because when you tell the truth, it doesn't take long, and you can then check out the truth against what is happening, and they don't want people to understand. So I'm not used to it, but I've been through it so much. I'm just a punch-drunk fighter. I'm still going to get in the ring, still got my trunks on, still got my gloves on, so we're off and running.
Well, I want to thank you. I mean, you know, one thing, I've known you for many years, and you're at the very least, you're unflappable. I mean, this thing happened. We made you know what we talked about. We made some things were in motion starting this morning, and I got to tell you, if nothing else, and this is for the benefit of you listeners, never let them see you sweat. I'm pretty cool, calm, and collected, but I have a threshold, and I just found out today that this young man I'm talking to, if he has a threshold, I don't know what it is, because you just, you know, I just sat here and I just did a meditation, Dr. Blair. I said, well, let it come in. I'm in the middle of helping a family member do some things, and I just let it come in, and it flashed before my eyes how to get into this Blog Talk Radio thing to get us on the air. So we'll deal with that later. Me and you got some things. I see we got to roll our sleeves up some more. And I had on a short sleeve shirt. So, but let's get on with it. We've got people in the queue. I know you like to start it off. They're not going to shake us up. You like to start it off with giving us a current event rundown.
Yeah, I'm going to give you some events rundown, and then we're going to go from there too.
You got it.
Those that are going to go to my website, there's a disclaimer up there now that we didn't do the show tonight, because I had to put it on because I know people would go there. So if you're going to the website, then that disclaimer you don't have to worry about, because now you hear us on. If not, those who may be calling back in, this is what it's all about there again. So let's just start off again. First of all, they got Legionnaire's disease everywhere. Supposedly in Chicago, started at the Marriott Hotel. That's a big hotel. And, of course, there are over 8,500 guests over the last few days in which supposedly they were exposed to Legionnaire's disease. So you can imagine what that hotel management is going on again. And they went on to describe how you can tell if you got it. Well, if you got anything that's wrong, you got it. Shortness of breath, runny nose, cough, headache, flushing, constipation, sweating, anything you got Legionnaire's disease now. And, of course, that started back in 56 with the old flu-type thing that happened at a meeting of the Legionnaires, American Legion, meeting over there in the East Coast. So now that's just another excuse. There's no Legionnaire's disease. Some more foolishness to get you to take shots and so on and so forth. They went on to understand now, in Texas, they are spraying the people. And guess where they started out? Just so happens it's the southeast corner of Texas in Dallas, where black people live. Now, I know that has nothing to do. They just don't want the black to get the Legionnaires first. That's why they start in the black neighborhoods first. Okay, we understand that, though. When we're looking from that, now they got AIDS coming back again. What's very interesting, too, about the AIDS virus again, that the children in around the Zaire, Africa, have developed a very strong immune system. And it came about because they successfully fought off the AIDS virus, which started in Zaire, and I've talked about that before. That started in Zaire with Mobutu Seko Seko, who gave 2,000 of his people, they let them give them these shots. Well, the secondary thing is that these immune systems now that have developed from the children and survived it, they are fighting off everything. They're fighting up so much again that the normal things that would normally get the mosquitoes don't even stand a chance. They have developed now extra strong immune system. So you start out to do something bad, you wind up to get something good out of the bad. Just as you say again, the good always follows, but it always is there. They also have talked about this British Petroleum thing, which is a gas recall. Supposedly now there are over 265,000 gallons of messed up, defective British Petroleum gas. You know, some say BP means bad petroleum. But either way, started in Indiana, it's now in Illinois, and it's supposed to be going to Iowa. Who knows about that again? Because I can't even understand how they're able to still do anything considering what they've done before. But nevertheless, now the gas is messed up. First they messed up the Gulf, now they're messing up your car. So as I say again, when does this ever stop? I just say BP is bad personnel response or bad petroleum again. Also, too, what's very interesting, too, is that this West Nile virus, supposedly now they have 2 mayors that have died of it. No, I'm sorry, 1 mayor that has died of it, the other is very sick of it. It's the mayor supposedly of Hazelcrest, and the mayor of Lombard supposedly has died of West Nile virus. Now, why did they bring this up? Because they say, I guess, if a mayor can get killed with it, you better hurry up and get what you can get quickly, because you know what happens to you. There also is a fact, too, that the 2,000th U.S. military troop was killed in Afghanistan yesterday. No, I take that back, Tuesday. Now, if you're going to believe that whole government report, that means that 2,000 troops have died for nothing if you understand the reasons why they're really over there. How many mothers, how many daughters, how many husbands, how many whatever again, whether you're heterosexual, homosexual, or not. And most of these troops, I think only 5 of them were supposed to be females. So again, the males are disappearing. One way they're disappearing is into jails and fighting wars that shouldn't even be fought. They also found, too, that a child in China was born with blue eyes. Chinese don't have blue eyes. It was a boy, and when they put him in the dark, he could begin to read books and see. They shone light in his eyes, and beams of light were shown to come out of his eyes and go across the room. Hear what I just said. Beams of light were reflected from his eyes and went across the room, and he can see in the dark. A blue-eyed Chinese guy in China. I don't know what part of China, but that's something you can look up too. They have platinum children now. Last year, the sister Mia had called in and said that I hear about platinum children, so I've looked into that. There were 3 of the 5 children born to a Brazilian nappy-headed group. I'm saying again, they have kinky hair, not curly hair. They have nails that are platinum. Skin is platinum. The hair is platinum. It's colorless again. And where did they come from? They have no idea. What they have been able to do is to not need much sleep. They sleep 2 hours a day, if any. Most of the time they're awake and always on the move and seem to have a lot of nervous energy. Secondly, there are droughts all over the planet. In the United States, 3/4 of the states have had high temperatures, and we already know about these fires. I saw the statistics on it again, so I can only say they used probably 3,000 firefighters. They used over 256 planes. They dropped over 8,000 gallons, and they finally cut a swath, what they call a perimeter swath, to stop the fire. It went into California, Arizona, Colorado, and it's still not completely extinguished. It's just supposedly they put up a firewall so it can't get through there again. There are now a lot of children born preaching. We need more preachers. We must need them, because now they're being born. There was a guy named Ezekiel Stoddard. He's 11 years old, a Negroid-looking child. He was ordained a Christian minister. He has a following already of 200 adults, and it's growing. So again, I guess the 3rd, 4th, and 5th coming is already here, except that there are 6 other ones around the world. So I guess he's going to duplicate himself as something else again. And I could go on with a lot, but since we started late, and hopefully, Tony, if it works out, we can extend this for those who are
it's already done.
Cut
already
short.
A done deal.
So
already a done
I have
deal.
so much I could talk about, but let me also say, in case something else happens to my website, I'm not suggesting that. I'm simply saying in case, because I'm going to fight if they do that too. Saturday, I'm doing a teleconference. And the teleconference is, and it states up on the net, it's for those who are awake, aware, and relevant. It means, again, if you've got something to report, and I'm finding out things people are having now. I used to have a show where I had to get special guests that special things happen to. Probably any of this audience, something has happened to. So you'll get a chance Saturday, and I don't want you to talk about that now. I want you to ask me questions or share direct information. I don't want you to talk about yourself. But Saturday, if you have something that's really way out, and you can't talk about it with your family, you don't know who to talk about it again because they think you're crazy, go with the people who are not crazy but are awake. And this is what the show will be for there. And I got some things I'm going to share you're not going to believe. They're all going to be true. And I want to hear your sharing it too. So you can call back later, if you will, and you go on the Internet, leave your email so we can email you. And if not, then leave your phone number. It's much easier to email than it is to phone. And sign up for that one. It's from 3 to 4:30 Saturday. It's a teleconference. It'll be on the net. You see up there again, awake, aware, and relevant. That's where you sign up for it. And if necessary, you can pay the $10 in the secondary payment. Normally you can't, but we fix that so you can. So that's what I want to say about that. And, of course, the web address is www.themetacenter2.com. Even I still got to use that, too. That's never been changed. www.themetacenter2.com. push2.com, and the home phone here, I'm not the home phone, the business phone, is 708-422-6685. With time, I'll repeat all of that at the end of the show, but so much for that. Tony, I said up my piece. Now let's see what they have to say, and thank you so much, man, for working miracles. And did you notice again, the good guys do come through, but they always seem to test you, and the bad guys never stop testing you, hoping the good guys will not come to your aid. And there's something else we did. We did a long-distance healing, and I say the word healing, that amazed me because the forces worked through us, and I want to report that too. If not now, I will talk about that Saturday. You're not going to believe what we were able to do.
Okay, well, every time, before we get to the phones, I'll say this. Every time they do something, this is chess, not checkers, and you would agree with me. You know that this is the final stretch, and the good news is that we won't have to deal. This planet won't have to deal with a lot of this garbage for at least another 26,000 years, if ever. Okay. The bad news is it's going to be a little tough. You mentioned the weather. It seems here we go again with the bogus weather. Here where I live, the clouds sit in a big old circle. I've never seen it for weeks at a time. Look, painted on the sky. They sit in a big old circle, and I know what that is. That's hard. And then all of a sudden, when they say, "Oh, it's going to rain," all of a sudden, an area, whole regions of the United States have the same weather. We're not even going to get into that. The call-in number for those of you who've been patiently waiting, 347-202-0471. We've got people on the line. We're going to get to you momentarily. Just got to make a couple of quick announcements, and then we're done. We're ready. We're not done. We're never done. I've got people. I want to give a shout-out to somebody that you introduced me to, Dr. Blair, Sister Jean Morgan, good sister, and I'm not going to get into it. I'm sure she'll tell you, but she's being moved. I'm noticing that people are being moved now. Things are happening. So if people out there, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, because we want to make sure that people can, if they have problems, they're not crazy, they're not, nuts, that they are actually this is the time that these things are going on. So, Sister Jean Morgan, you're out there. If you're listening, we appreciate you. Dr. Blair, without further ado, we're going to take some calls.
Okay, and at the end after the show, well, you must tell me what you mean by her being moved. Okay, we don't do that now. After the show.
Yeah, I will talk to you later on anyway, but she literally is going down, and it's an interesting story she has to tell. But right now, we're going to listen to what area code 336-1691. You're on the air with Dr. Blair. Thank you for waiting. I need a first name. Where are you calling from? 336 area code 1691. Going once.
That's us.
Going twice.
Yo.
Hello.
Yes, well, speak up, please.
Come on.
How you doing?
Got a lot of people waiting. Fine. How you doing?
It's whom?
Hello, this is D from Greensboro, Mr. Blair.
Yes, sir, D.
Hey, I'm trying to well, I'm asking you a question about Mars. What happened with Mars, and was like the Anunnaki a part of the civilization that built the pyramids and everything on Mars? And that's what they left. That's what they talk about in Sidonia with the mask and all that.
Well, the Martians were the ones that came to Egypt, and they're the ones that built the pyramid. Now, that's not what they tell you. I'm giving you the metaphysical lowdown. They also had people who were Martians who are still in Mars. They live inside, and they are the results of what happened after a catastrophic thing happened to our entire solar system. Many of the Martians were either people who came from Sirius, Arcturus, or Andromeda. There's a migration pattern, if you would. So that's what I give you on that path. And, of course, even though that sounds way out, it doesn't matter because most of the times they teach you lies anyway. And if you check the lie out, they don't make sense either. So that's another aspect of what I'm telling you happened there. Yeah, they were.
So they had the wars with the Dracons, though?
Well, they had war. Well, Dracons have always caused nothing but trouble. That's all they do. That's all they know how to do is war because they lost their souls a long time ago, and they hate people who have souls, and they hate the things that the Creator has made that are still, can go along longer than they will. They can be destroyed because they have no souls. It's like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But you have a soul, you just have to try it someplace else again and see what you do. So that's the big difference. And by the way, the word Cairo is a mispronunciation by the Greeks. They couldn't speak K's. They couldn't speak consonants. Cairo means Kahir. Kahir means Mars. So it even tells you by the name was built by those who either honored people from Mars or by Martians.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, caller. Okay, let's see here. We're going to move it right along. We've got area code 773. I think that's your neck of the woods, Dr. Blair. 7474 as the last four digits. Welcome. First name and where are you calling from?
In order to join the Illuminati, they have to sell their souls. Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Not
You're
us,
on.
right?
Speak up.
You can't hear us, right?
We can hear you now.
Going twice. We can hear you. Do you have a question?
Oh, can you hear us, Dr. Blair?
Yes, please. Keep talking.
Hey, this is actually a real honor. I've been listening to you for 2 years. All right, I'll get to the point. I've got two questions that I would like answers to.
Well, let's talk one at a time.
All right, so number one, I was watching something Stephen Hawking says that we're an expanding universe because everything is expanding. I would like the metaphysical side of that. Did it come from one point? How do you see that way?
The mind is always expanding, but the mind can't be quarantined. It can't be obfuscated. It can't be done anything but listened to. The mind of the Creator is the mind that they're talking about. Who created universal mind, cosmic mind? Who knows? The Creator's mind is everywhere. No one seems to know. And I've talked with some very interesting people who supposedly have talked with some very interesting extraterrestrials and everything else. No one understands that. All they know is that if you are in the mind of the Creator, you have an energy field around you. And that's how you can tell. That's what we now call the human aura. And the chakras are the energy fields and wheels that work those chakras for each one of us. So that's the only thing I can tell you about that. I have never found an answer for first cause.
Okay. The next question I was going to ask was going to be, unfortunately, it is related to drug, and I don't want you to be offended by this, but about a year ago, I had a pure version of that drug, DMT, and I had an out-of-body experience, absolutely insane. You know how that story goes, right? But it felt extremely real. I didn't know about Earth while I was there. So, next thing is, I'm not trying to do that anymore. I've been researching Merkaba and the Flower of Life and trying to, get into a meditative way to get to these places, and especially I think it might be some way, like trying to say, relevant to these times that you've been speaking about over the last 2 years.
But I think it's all relevant to what I've been speaking about the last 2 years, because what I've been speaking about the last 2 years is now coming upon us. We're going to have 3 months of hell, and the only way to get past those 3 months of hell is to get into heavy meditation. The ethylmethylphane and stuff is not going to work it. It's going to take natural things.
Yes.
That's why we also are revamping our things on Go, because this month all you can buy from us on the Go line is the Super Sprouts, which is also good because it also contains one of the things that helps you to alter your thoughts. Altura plus chlorella and spirulina and barley grass and hoed grass and all these things are that. But the rest of it, as we're going to be facing, that's what I'm going to be talking about Saturday, what's really behind the things that's happening over in the Mideast, what's really happening here, why you got a Hurricane Isaac that's heading toward Tampa, why you got things that are coming out of the Pacific Ocean. The slaves were brought over in the Atlantic Ocean. They brought the dolphins over, and they had in Kalia encrusted on the Pacific Ocean. If you don't know what I mean by that, tune in Saturday. everything is coming to the fore, and we must go now to our own minds, clean up our minds, not get it dirtied up, and begin to think and unthink things we've done. As the souls now, we're getting justice. We're getting justice. We want mercy, and we're going to have to ask for that mercy by understanding what we did wrong and what we can now do right.
Yes, indeed. And Dr. Blair, I hear what the caller said, and a lot of young people they mean well. They have good intentions of trying to get to the higher levels of consciousness. But I've heard you say many times, as well as others who teach this information, all the chemicals, Dr. Jewel Pookrum has told us this as well on some occasions, and Phil Valentine, many of them. The chemicals are already in your brain. You can activate them inside. You don't need an external triggering device. So if you could, just as a summary for the benefit of a lot of young people listen to us, they don't need to, they're starting to try to get them to get there with some other means. And could you just once again reinforce that point that you've made many times over the years?
Well, the whole point is the body produces hormones through glands and organs. Chemicals are made synthetic in a laboratory, usually controlled or inspired by draconic thought. And when you use that, you're using now people who have lost their souls. Is that what you want to do? You want to lose your soul? You want to get blasted out of space and be eaten on for the rest of your life, or whatever else you think purgatory or hell is? I don't think so. So if you get to the higher dimensions, you're going to have to use your mind, and you're going to have to put your spirit and your soul into it. They don't have souls to put into it. They can take the drugs. You better not. And if you do, you're lowering your vibrations, and to lower your vibration now is to lose not only your body, but probably your mind. I suggest again, go with the hormones, go with the natural things, and your body will make whatever it needs, not in the form of drugs, but in the form of hormones. And anytime you are a dark, black person, you better not go synthetic. And if you do, you will lose your mind immediately and act crazy. But if you go that way also, you have now the virtue of creating melanin, going into an area of the Milky Way where melanin is a dominant feature. That's what that Oort cloud is there. So why go backwards when you're about to reach the success that you've paid mightily for through many lifetimes and much suffering? Don't be stupid. Don't be dumb. Go for it.
Indeed. Indeed. We're moving right along. We've got area code 619-7916. You're on the air with Dr. Blair. State your name, where you're calling from, and your question, please.
My name is Sean. I'm from San Diego. I wanted to ask Dr. Blair about I've seen, well, I'm probably on the late freight on this, but I've seen the alien lady found on the moon and a giant spaceship. I'd like the facts or metaphysical facts on
we
that.
Have a sister on the moon, and I have a big lecture about 3 weeks ago on the thing on the moon and one on the sun. It's really controversial, but I back it up with not only facts, but with things that nobody else has been able to dispute. You can dispute reality, but reality still exists. Ignorance is not bliss. It's a dumb way of out. So I do have that tape. If you want to write for it or ask for it, we can say it's called Sister on the Moon or the Moon
Okay. So there's no facts you can give us or a little bit right now? Or?
Yeah, I can give you a fact. It's a billion-year-old spaceship, a mile long on the moon. I forget what crater. There's a black woman driving it. At least but she has cornrows. She has things attached to her chakra, her forehead, her nose, and her mouth, as though she spoke and drove this thing by mind. Her body is in such a preservative state that after a billion years, and I didn't do the carbon dating or existential chemical analysis of it, it's a very controversial film. I believe it. I also
now, were they in a war, or Was
I have no idea about all of that. Obviously, something happened, and this is what I'm telling you. That's enough as I'm going to give you. The rest of it, you have to go and look into the research we've done about the moon, because obviously there was a war on the moon. They've had androids on the moon with negroid heads, and there's still activity in all the major craters there, Mare Crisium, Tycho, and behind the moon is always activity. Even NASA has talked about activity behind the moon, and even made one of the moon craters after a Swedish guy. So that's all I can tell you. Other than that, buy the tape, stick with us, tune in Saturday. We'll be getting even deeper into these things.
Yeah, it's funny, Dr. Blair, keep caller, keep listening. It is said that, I don't recall which astronauts put some information out. They said that there may be as many as 1 million people inhabiting the moon. Amazing place that we
on
live
the
in.
other side, there might be 1 million creatures inhabiting the moon.
Yes. All evidence.
That's the way I like to phrase that.
That's right. All evidence leads to the fact that the moon was and possibly still is a space station at the very least and a war machine, but that's on another topic.
There you go.
We've got 240 area code 7988, the last four. Welcome to the program.
How you doing, host and Dr. Blair?
Doing fine, and you?
Well, how are you? Who are we talking to?
This is Noel from D.C.
Welcome,
Noel from D.C., we're listening.
Thank you. I know last week, Dr. Blair, you said you would be in Baltimore. I think you said September 14th through the 18th.
Yes, sir.
When and where will you be there?
If you go to our website, it's posted up there, or if not, it will be up there. Or if you call in later on, I will tell you.
Okay, that's all the questions I had, and nice show.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, I would just like to say we got off to a late start. I know we are extending. If you have a call dealing with customer service or you want to check Dr. Blair's schedule, the website, www.medicenter2.com, has all the information. And, of course, we always make several announcements during each show of what the good doctor will be and where he'll be. So if you call in with a question so that you can learn something that you didn't know, and the other people who are listening, it may apply to them too. Thank you all so much. 910 area code 7578. This looks like one of our regulars. Welcome to the program.
Greetings.
Hello.
Greetings. Yes, hello.
Yes. My question. Greetings, Dr. Delbert Blair, Tony. My question is, as far as the concentration camps and things like that, would that be for our ascension?
Would that be for your ascension?
Yeah. So
no, that would be for your detention. No, that would be for your detention.
Yes.
They had many plans, the Illuminati, those evil ones who serve the Dracons, who serve the false gods. And, of course, they have plans to put people everywhere, round them up like mad and detain them and all this kind of thing. That's not going to work because the very areas that they want to detain out southwest, many Chinese are going to have to move into, not Chinese, stop that, Japanese are going to be moving into because Japan is now a dead area. And not only that, but they have been singled out for bombings and everything there. They had a whole area underground there that was blown up. They still don't know who blew it up. And they are under watchful eye. There are people and creatures watching this place like a hawk would watch a prey. And they're being watched too. They're scared stiff. But the Illuminati who serve them don't have sense enough to be scared. When the Dracons are scared because they know that the jig is up, the Illuminati are the only ones foolish enough now to be arresting and killing people, and they will pay with that within 3 months' time once they do it. Mark my words.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Let's see here. 215 area code 8233 was your first name. Where are you calling from, and what's your question for Dr. Blair?
Hetapu, Honorable Dr. Delbert Blair, and Honorable Host Tony.
Yes, Sister B.
Happy New Year to you, your personal New Year. Yes,
Greetings,
that's me. I'm calling because several people are talking about this. Somebody's putting on their left shoulder, around their shoulder blade, some type of implant that gives people the symptoms of a heart attack. And when I heard about Rosie O'Donnell getting a heart attack, and the first thing they want to do is cut into people's hearts and give them bypasses, I'm wanting to know, what is the antidote?
Oh, I have no idea for the antidote of it because I don't know what they're using to cause it to happen. But as you know, they have walk-past patches. You've been a sufferer of that one. They got every kind of evil thing you can think of. Which chemical they use, who knows? They got some chemicals that, used to be in the war. They used them for diplomats and stuff like this. They kill you on the spot. So obviously these are things to not kill you on the spot, but be able to get to a hospital so you can take some of your organs and some of the good blood that you may have. But I'm not familiar with that particular one, no. But I don't doubt it. And I know you wouldn't say it unless you heard about it.
Oh, yes, and they pretend to hug or slap person on their shoulder, but it's always the left one. But I humbly thank you, and I love you all.
Thank you very much. Great blessing. I haven't forgotten about you. Just haven't been able to do anything to help. In fact, all I can do is help myself nowadays. But the time is coming short. Just hold tight.
Well, we really are the ones we've been waiting for. That's something that I can hang my hat on every day. So let's see here. This looks like maybe someone calling from across the country. The last 4 digits is 5206. So you're on the program. Give us your first name and where you're calling from. Your number shows up. Looks like a Skype number.
Greetings, Dr. Blair. Greetings, everyone. I'm Frank. I'm calling from London. Missed the show a couple of times, but
okay.
Good to be back again.
Who is this, brother?
What's the name?
Frank.
All right, Frank.
Greetings,
from
brother
London.
Frank.
Used
Greetings,
to call
brother.
you
Before.
Calling on the Jew Talk Room show.
Yeah, he was talking. He was talking, Tony. Go on. Please keep talking.
Yeah, it's just interesting. The Olympics in London. I live on a tower block. I can actually see the stadium from where I live. It's I was just interested in the athletes they were mainly focusing on, and this previous this tournament, recent tournament rather, you had a lot of focus on the melanated people who were taking part. For example, Usain Bolt, Mo Farah, there was a lot of emphasis on the melanated beings, as if there's some kind of energy that these dracons are using to feed. It's like a food, and that's how I felt. That was my view of it. I don't know what's your take on this.
Well, all I noticed is that the black athletes, most of them excelled in what they did. Little melanated athletes also excelled in what they did, and some with very little melanin athletes excelled in what they did. It was quite a competitive type thing. Of course, now they're talking about taking medals away because of drugs and this kind of thing and all, too, which they've done many cases before. All I can say is that melanin has always been coveted. Melanin will always be coveted. And as we go into this new fifth dimension, if it has this big Oort cloud, which supposedly is dark matter, it will be a key and a promise to a better Olympics, the Olympics in the Milky Way. So I think you probably saw right. I wasn't there to feed on that part, but I trust that you did, and I'm listening to what you say.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You know, it's interesting. Thank you, Brother Frank, and continue to listen. You know, it's interesting, Dr. Blair. This Olympics was different, and I don't really watch them. I mean, I don't have a horse in the race, no pun intended, but this is different. This, I know what I saw, and there's a lot of things, a lot of backstory, a lot of craziness going on the side, a lot of, as usual, distractions, but I agree with Brother Frank. This felt like a ritual. There was definitely something even more amped up than what they usually do. And I don't know if you had other people that brought that to your attention, even the structure where they had the opening ceremony. Someone posted up on one of the social networks that was actually full of Masonic symbols, and he broke it down. Did you get any input, or did you get, was there anything other than business as usual they may have done at this Olympics?
Oh, yeah, they started it off with a float in the sky. They also introduced at the end some kind of a bat or something there that was hovering over a crib. They had, what do they call, pyramid things all around the sign. The word Zion was in there. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of things going on. Now, how would you use that energy? You know, you wouldn't. And did you notice how many Britishers or Londoners or whatever word I should use, no corruption intended, again, won medals? And I was never noted for their medals. So as I say again, everything is everything, as the brothers on the street say, and I simply say everything now has a purpose and a time, good or bad. And it's all coming to the fore. Everything will be revealed. Nothing will be hidden, for man and woman must know truth.
Yes, yes, indeed. Well, moving forward, we've got area code 205-2007. Last 4 digits, first name, where are you calling from? Welcome to the show.
Hi, this is Seta, and I'm calling from Alabama, and I've got to say that for the past week, we have had a formation of the Orion formation in our sky, the 3 stars, and it's been like a triangle because we live here on the 13th degree parallel, and I was just wondering what you thought about it.
Well, I don't know. There's a young lady that I know who is a pretty good astrologer and has studied, under some of the best, if they have any best in there. And she has said it's actually 3 constellations, but not Orion. But again, you probably know more than I because she knows more than I when it comes to that. So if you call it that, I say what it is. But there is a triangle shape up there and has been up there for over 30 days. What did you call it again?
Well, I said Orion. I could be wrong.
What are the other
I'm
two?
thinking Orion.
What are the other 2 constellations that form that belt?
I don't know. It can't be the Sirius star. I was thinking Sirius, but I don't think that's it.
I don't know. I know I wish you guys could talk, but that's interesting. But it did form like a pyramid, and there were 3 different constellations in the sky. So I wish I could answer you more. I'm too ignorant to do so, but I love to get you educated.
Okay, and since we're on the 13th degree parallel, I was just wondering if that has something to do with it, too.
I just don't know.
All right, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sister. Let's see here. We've got area code 404. You've been on a while, and we appreciate you being patient with us. Area code 404-3471, the last 4 digits. Welcome to the program.
Oh, how you doing?
Yes.
Doing fine. How about you?
Name?
Yeah, I'm Sam, and I'm from Atlanta.
Greetings, Sam.
Yeah, and I got a question. I was hearing some stuff on the internet talking about and stuff. John McKenna was talking about the chart that they said it was going like through a time machine, and when we got to December, it flattened out. They couldn't do anything about it. So it's about a chart. There was
You're saying a chart. They got to December and flattened out. I don't understand.
It was something from the Mayan calendar.
Something from the Mayan calendar that what?
Yeah, the John McKenna was talking about a chart.
Is this some guest you heard on Coast to Coast or something?
No.
No.
I get it.
Well,
no.
Okay. I don't know how you're expressing yourself, so let me give a guess and see if we can get to a conclusion on this one. The Mayan calendar, of course, is what they're saying will determine on the 21st that our whole planet goes into a whole different consciousness. It's been known as what is Great Arcanum, or the Great Secret. It supposedly was written by the Mayans. I don't believe it was, but that's my own dissertation on when Mayans were available and based when this calendar supposedly was made. I think it's an Olmec calendar, and Olmec is not the real name either of the people. The Great Arcanum contains 4 arcana and is 6,500 years each. And it's said that on the 21st there, this energy beam will come from the Milky Way galaxy, cross-section on Q528 megahertz, and will cause us to now go into a higher rate of ascension. That's not going to happen. The rest of it is going to happen, but the Earth will still go on. There'll be a 2013, but we will begin to change dimension, and everybody will begin to change because those that contain frequency will begin to grow younger, have different powers, want different foods, and do different things. Even the animals will obey them. Those that don't, you'll begin to see as they degenerate. So this is why I think it's a turning point. And according to the Empress of Japan, there'll be 3 days of darkness right after that. There will be 3 days of darkness. I don't think it's going to occur then. We shall see. Either way, it won't be too long after that when we have our days of darkness as we transcend to a new sun.
Very interesting. Area code 762, 0188 are the last 4 digits. Welcome to the program. Who do we have on the line? Area code 762, going once, going twice, 0188, last 4 digits. Okay, they got some other stuff going on. Okay. Okay, they on some other stuff. Ascension. Dr. Blair, I've had some sisters send me emails, and there's a concern, and I don't know, I know you deal with a lot of your listeners are women, young and old. They're going through an emotional flux, man. And I know that ascension it involves every aspect of our being. We both dedicated ourselves, as many others on the planet, to ushering in the ascension, giving people the tools that they need to architect their own ascension. But what I'd like to ask you, what do emotions have to do with this? I mean, we talk about concentrated thought, and there's a lot of technical things, spiritual sciences, as well as the draconian, mechanical, artificial sciences. But emotions is something that's soul right there. What role will our emotions play as we ascend through these changing times, in your observation?
Well, emotion is energy in motion. I used to teach these in my basic classes, not trying to demean at all. E equals energy in motion. You can either put motion to energy by what they call desire, and when you desire something, you want it to happen. You say, oh, I desire this again. When you will something, you make it happen. And that's what willpower, I used to say willpower meets desire. When you will something, you're using willpower. Willpower goes out from you, and it's according to how much energy your chakras can exude through your sending energy out. When you desire something, you're pulling it in. You hope that you get it. You desire to get it. One commands, the other demands. One suggests, the other comes to rest. So now we're getting into a time that the planet is going into an emotional state, Q528 megahertz, 5,280 megahertz, in which will be uppermost, because we have to now will ourselves into the fifth dimension where our thoughts are things. That's why guarding your thoughts, creating your thoughts, and using your thoughts is uppermost now. When molecules of water and land and air and fire transcend into that, they will obey thought, because they were created from the thoughts of fire, water, air, and the consciousness of the Creator. So therefore, willpower means concentrated thought, and thought is everything now. That's why you must guard your thoughts carefully, and don't think what you don't want to return, because when it comes back to you again, you might not like it. So that's the best overview for that.
Okay, yes. It's, it's just, we get sisters that, I would say, well, Brother Tony, they wake up in the middle of the night, they feel melancholy, feeling for no apparent reason. I have a theory through the years. I've seen some evidence that somebody, the proverbial they, know that whatever they do to the planet is going to affect women, and in particularly women with more melanin in them. So is it a deliberate effort to tweak, if you will, or sabotage the energy field of the sisterhood, the womanhood on the planet?
Melanin has always been coveted, because with melanin you are close to the Creator. Melanin this is where everywhere they're finding now, in new dimensions, dark matter, and black holes by which dark matter generates from and comes in and out, but nothing else comes out of it but light. So I'm simply saying this has never been a postulation. This has always been a fact and a reality. The whole point is now these women, black and white, are taking a lot of drugs that are not good for them, both as carriers of babies, both for the menses, both for menopause or anything else, because you have 3 lobes on the thyroid gland. And that thyroid gland, on the, what am I trying to say? Oh, God. The gland at the throat. I can't even think what you call it right now. Is that the thyroid? Yeah,
yes.
Thyroid gland. Yeah, you have 3 lobes on it. And they're taking this false iodine and trying to feed that. That won't work. You have to get iodine from kelp and from sea things and from natural things. When it happens that way, then you can direct that energy better. Since it's not being directed better, it's upsetting what is called the parathyroids, which at one time were gills, and that's getting the whole thing out of balance. Plus the fact they're taking these shots, they're going out and breathing the air, and unfortunately they chemtrail it every day, and they're taking these mammography things. They're doing everything wrong, thinking they're doing it right, and of course that's going to upset anybody, because they're very psychic, because they're the carriers in the womb of new consciousness, and the new consciousness is being birthed not as a baby, but as a thought. So anytime you're full of drugs and this kind of thing, you're going to be upset. The thing is, start taking things that are good, taking the monatomic gold, taking that super spot up there. It's not up there by accident, which will give you not only your gold, but give you the things to build things that are good for you and help that melanin, which is nothing but photosynthetic stuff. It's just like the plants. It's green. It gives you photosynthetic energy, and at night, put more serotonin so you can rest easy. And so When you take the drugs, it upsets all of that. And they're going to be one of the first ones to take the drugs and take the children out because they're afraid their children are going to get AIDS and West Nile and everything else. That's the worst thing you can do. Stay calm, do the thing that you know you should do, and don't be influenced by 2579 and Fox.
That's right. Let's see here. We've got 816 area code 1478 is the last four. State your name, where you're calling from, and welcome to Expanding Consciousness.
How you brothers doing? This is John calling from Kansas City, Missouri. How you doing?
Okay, John, and good hearing from you.
Good hearing from you, brothers. It's been a minute. Listen, I just had a question, right? There was like the week of the 2nd of August, there was a gentleman who had called in, and he said that there was a formation of a triangle in the sky, right? And I had actually got that on my phone, right? I took I took 2 long camera stills of it, and I went and got my wife. Now, before I went to sleep this night, guys, I went and made sure that it was on my phone because I wanted to show it to a few people, right? The next morning when I woke up, those 2 pics were gone. But the one that I messed up on, which recorded my hand, it was still on my phone. And now my phone does all kind of crazy stuff. And I just wanted to get your opinion on it, because I'm a star watcher. I'm always looking and being observant. So it was just something that was just really weird that happened to me.
And this is the kind of thing I want to talk about come this Saturday when we are awake, aware, and relevant to not letting things go by that we don't notice and not making things happen that have happened and make us forget about it because we're afraid to admit it. Everything is going to change, and the first thing is going to change are these cell phones. That's why I keep telling people, get these diodes, because before they shut out, they're going to flare up, and they're going to start releasing some of the worst electrical energies you've ever seen before they then shut out, because the magnetic field is what they're fighting against. And that's why I say cell phones, always controlled. Smartphones are used by dummies if you don't understand how to neutralize them. And I'm not calling you a dummy. If you got a smartphone, you had enough money to buy it, put a daggone diode on it like yesterday. And don't use it without a diode on it, because those are nothing walking computers. As I've always said before, you can ask that computer to show you Epsilon Booty Alpha Centauri. It will show it to you, which means that orbiting satellite either looked up its record or pointed toward those 2 constellations. Either way, they're beaming down to you, something you're holding in your left hand if you're right-handed, and actually in widening and scaling. You're perfectly grounded out, and you're getting radiated like from an orbiting satellite. Think about that. We'll do that along with the microwave ovens and the plasma TVs and the direct TVs and the MP3 players. It just goes on and on. So, yes, right. I don't doubt that it disappeared from that one. I don't doubt anything, because they control those things and you don't. They're using you. You're not using them.
All right. Hotep, you brothers take care, and I'll just listen offline.
Thank you. Okay, are we still on, or am I gone?
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
And are we still online with the rest of the people?
Yes, we can hear you. We can still hear you, and it looks like we're still in ear's distance. A lot of talk, a lot of chatter now. The Akashic Records. Now, there's 2 schools of thought, and you can share light on this. One is that the Akashic Records are in a place under at one time they believed, and may still be under one of the feet of the Sphinx in Egypt. But then in the last few years, this is here we go again, coming to light that we each are an Akashic Record. We have access to the Akashic Record, which is the record of it all. So can you share some light on this and maybe give because people are looking for answers, and we're going to find out a whole lot of things here sooner than later. So,
well, I forget the name of the sleeping prophet who did all the readings and stuff.
Edgar Cayce.
Edgar Cayce. He's the one that talks of the Hall of Records, okay, underneath the Paul of the Sphinx. Underneath the Paul of the Sphinx is not only a Hall of Record, there's a direct tunnel to another pyramid underneath there. And that goes into another area leading to the inner world. This is what it is really all about. Now, the Hall of Records is one of the things that he referred to. The Akashic Record is written on the mind of anybody who has a mind of their own. This is what is called the mind. We're in universal mind. We are a product of universal mind. We are a product of universal prime creator. And everything we do is recorded in our matrix around us, And upon our deaths, when we ascend, we must go through that mind. That mind is what lets you know you have a soul. It's an energy field that's around you, and everything is engrammed. When you leave this body, both the brain's entrained, and your record flashes before you. That Akashic record is not only of this lifetime, but of all lifetimes that you've led, which we must go through if we're going to leave this planet, because the planet is going to a higher dimension. This is the key for one of the things I'm going to talk about Saturday, because what is happening in the mind of the planet is also happening in your mind, because the planet is in the mind and the cell of the Creator. And as she relives this could be very dangerous, because if you're in her mind, you will think you're going through what she's going through. That's why to have a mind on your own is one thing. To have a mind tuned to the universal creator gets you past all of this. That's the difference between ascension and descension. The best way I can break it down.
You know, is it important? So it seems to be very important, more so than ever right now, to use the monatomic gold, use the seafood, the superfood, seaweed, superfood. I think more than ever, it's so important now to get your frequency and raise your frequency and get your vibration higher, more so than ever.
And to block all those devices that are killing you, stopping your frequency,
Yes.
and that's what they call all these things that are there. Got to answer my door right quick. I didn't know I was going to be this late as a brother, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. I know you got something to say anyway.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. We're coming up on break. So you're listening to Expanding Consciousness with Dr. Delbert Blair. Have call in. The number is 347-202-0471. I'm Dr. Delbert Blair. We do an exploration each week here with Dr. Blair and myself, your co-host Tony Quaid. And we are going to take a little break here, and we will be right back. listening to Dr. Delbert Blair, Expanding Consciousness, that takes place under ordinary circumstances here every Thursday at 4:30 Pacific Time, 6:30 Central, 7:30 East Coast Time here on Light 08 Experience on Blog Talk Radio. Looks like we're going through it, okay? And we went through it today, but Dr. Blair is here every week, and I'll do everything I can to see to it that we get this information, whatever we have to share, to those of you who listen to us. We like to also make mention that if you have a brother, a nephew, a son, or just somebody that you know that you want to keep them out of trouble, you want something to hang their hat on. We're under a lot of pressure right now. I had a guest on a few months ago. He's an attorney out of Texas, John McKenzie. He wrote a good book called Blackout in America. And even though it's fiction, and even though its message is simplistic, it's so complicated and controversial, he's caught a lot of flack. And what it is, basically his message is, keep our young people out of the prison system. So if you get a chance, go over to blackoutinamerica.com, and you'll be glad you did. It's a good book. Even though it's fiction, it's a profound message in that. And I can't help but think, as things get tougher on us, people who can take anything and have a resiliency at the soul level, nevertheless, they're going to throw the book at you. And if you don't know who you are, don't remember who you are, you may just walk into a landfill, a landmine, a pitfall. So do what you can to keep yourself well. Blackout in America. And that's just one message, one voice. Also, for those of you who, we have a question that I'm going to give to Dr. Blair regarding soulmates that came out of the chat room. But for those of you who have been fortunate enough to move through this ascension, and you are doing everything you can, wearing the ornamentation, doing everything that in your power and will to make this move. There's a company that I know of, a good brother, Brother Adam Eccleston. I'm going to have him here because he has quite a story to tell. His site, You Love Jewelry, the letter U, L-O-V-E, jewelry.com. He makes Afrocentric jewelry, which is energetic. That's all I can say. When you go up there, you'll see for yourself. The brother has a story to tell, and it's a very spiritual effort, what he's done. He's actually going to be, as I understand, offering workshops where people can learn how to make, he said, with a pair of pliers and a wire, he can show you how to make jewelry, and you can sustain yourself and raise a family, as he has done for over 40 years. You Love Jewelry. You like jewelry, you'll love his creations. ULOVE jewelry.com. Dr. Blair, we've got a question in the chat room. It's, could you ask Dr. Blair how important is having a soulmate during this ascension, and is there a specific meditation to attract your soulmate?
Well, how important is it to have a soulmate during this time? I think if you have a soulmate at this time, you're 3 times blessed.
Yes.
Many souls, there are mates, twin souls, and soulmates, and there's a whole tape that I have on that whole thing, on reincarnation, soulmates, twin souls, mates, so on and so forth again. Most people mate. Of course, you got mates now that are heterosexual. You got mates now that are homosexual. You got mates now that are metasexual. All of this seems to go. But to find a soulmate, it means that almost everything on every angle, from the soul, from the spirit, from the mind, and from the body, is a perfect vibration. It's harmonious. That is difficult to find. So again, if you have been that successful, you're very fortunate. One of the things that we make a mistake in is that we now, the incest is what was done by those who didn't have souls, or those who had alien blood, and they didn't want to lose that alien blood vibration, so they mated with each other, trying to bring through aliens. We have now even used that and messed that over again by mating with the same sex and so on like that. We're getting confused, and the confusion is coming because they don't want you to understand who you are, why you are, where you are, and where you're going. So with this in mind, if you're that fortunate, you'd be very fortunate. And I will say, to do that, you have to meditate. For some of you call it prayer, but it means concentrated thought, asking for just that. In many cases, we come close to it. Very few will find their mates until they get to the fifth dimension, because many of the mates are not even in human bodies right now. So again, that's my best answer without getting the whole tape on reincarnation that I made and so on like that.
Okay, thank you. In the chat room, caller 614 area code 6321 is the last 4 digits. Welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling from? 614 area code. You're there. Going once, going twice. 6321. Okay. Hello? Okay, well, I guess they're watching cartoons. They'll call back or something else. Let's see here. Now, here's something that a lot of people, I think, are getting tied up with the soulmate. And I, for those of you who don't know, I would strongly recommend you go over and get that tape because Dr. Blair, you laid it out. I don't know if I've heard anybody speak on the reincarnation, and give it the context that you gave it. So I know that a lot of people don't even understand what's the reincarnation process about. Why do we need to even go through reincarnation, in your observation?
Well, just taking the root word itself, when you redo something, it means you must have done it before. Karna is meat, which means flesh, and ion or strata. It means an ion or strata of gut. So it means coming back into the ionic strata of flesh, which means that there must be other strata, which means that there must be other things you've done before you did this one. When you come back here, it has to be flesh because we're on a fleshly planet. As our planet exudes and advances and ascends, we would not have to have physical bodies because the fifth dimension is a thought dimension and you can create any physical body you want, but the physical body you choose is one that will exist for others to see that are on that dimension. See, we don't even understand thought forms and thought words. That's why the Matrix was such a beautiful thing when Sophia Stewart did it. But when the Wachowski brothers made it into a martial arts movie, it lost all of its context. It's a matter then, as we ascend, we get into the realms of mind. And in your mind, you can create everything you want. So therefore, if you want a beautiful body, you will have a beautiful body. Here, you have to work on the physical plane. You have to make the physical body through your mind and through your thoughts and through your self-control. Big difference.
Yes, indeed. Well, that brings me to another question. I wanted to talk to you this week about this. And we all heard this director. His name is Tony Scott, and I think you know where I'm going to go with this. This guy had everything. He was one of the darlings of Hollywood. His brother, I think, is the guy that Ridley that did the Aliens and Prometheus. This is a guy that had the proverbial. He was one of the Hollywood manipulators, if you would. And when I say that, I don't use that term lightly. He's a director, got money in his pocket, got everything you could possibly want out of this situation, out of this matrix. And he just drives out here, drives out to San Pedro, and in the middle of traffic, he parks his car, jumps up and doesn't waste no time, just jumps off the edge and kills himself. So my question is, especially in light of what you just said, what is going on in these people who already have everything? Is the pressure on them just as intense as it is on those of us who are working, as you mentioned earlier in the program, in search of truth, sharing truth, expanding truth? But it seems there's just as much pressure through this ascension on those that seem to have the proverbial bull by the horns.
Money does not bring happiness. Money tries to buy happiness. Happiness is bought is evanescent because there's only so much that you can be happy with. If you spend $1 million doing everything you think you want and you still have things to do, it means you haven't been content and happy. If you have a little and somebody gives you $1 million, you might be immediately happy because that $1 million to you will do everything you thought you wanted. This is why you can't buy love, but you can buy pleasure. You can't buy happiness, but you can buy contentment, but it's only from within you that you must find balance. And if it's not within you, and especially now when people are doing things that they wish they hadn't done, and then they become aware. This is why revelation is such a strong thing, not only in the book of Revelation, but revealing within you. Most of us hide. Remember again, our beautiful brother, look at the man in the mirror. Look at the woman in the mirror. If you can look at that person and find them beautiful, you're blessed. But if you look at that person and you know what you've done wrong, you find that sometimes it just goes crazy. Now, there's other things, too. We don't know what an autopsy report showed there, We don't know what that man may have had in his bloodstream. We don't know a lot of other things yet. Many people see things now, and they'll be jumping off of bridges. You're going to find people stopping on green lights. You're going to find people stopping in the middle of an intersection to honk at a person that's not there, while another person texts themselves off of a bridge. We have no idea yet whatever else was behind that. It may have been more than we think. It may have been only that it was a psychic phenomena. Who knows? Until that toxicology report or autopsy is be done, you really don't know.
Indeed. We've got another caller for you. Area code 516, last 4 digits 4563. Welcome to the program. Your first name and where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Jen, and I'm calling from Long Island, New York. I just have a question in regards to ascension. Is it possible, if you have children, could you meditate strong enough where you can actually have some type of protective field around your kids so that way they can actually ensure their passage into ascension safely?
Well, it's according to how old your kid is, and I don't like the word kid. Everybody knows that. I don't use kid. I'm saying this now only because you said it. A kid is a baby goat, and a kid has been, that word came about by these draconic-led Illuminati who introduced the word kid. A kid is a baby goat, and it's a sacrifice to the goat god Baphomet. Never use it. That's why you see these horn flashes again, even on some of these so-called Hollywood rappers and stuff. They flash that horn sign. Not a good one. Don't call your child a kid. You have children, not kids. Now, secondly, if you surround anything with a thought, and the thought is harmonious to their consciousness, it will send, you're sending energy to it. This is what, remember, this is what they killed Dr. Jewel Pookrum about. Dr. Pookrum, I'm sorry. This is what they killed the sister that wrote Water to the Brain and Water, Water Everywhere, Not a Drop to Drink. I keep forgetting her name. But because she showed that thoughts can infect everything and thoughts can control everything. So wherever you send your thought to, if that thought is a loving one and that person has a field around them, you can reach them. That means in that way you are protecting them. But the biggest thing is, again, that they be secure enough to protect themselves. Because when they radiate that around them and it's harmonious with other fields around them, then that whole room now is filled with thought that can reject almost anything that's negative. That's just why, again, concentrated thought as we go into this 5,280 megahertz is so necessary and important. Yes, send your thoughts of love, but also generate from them loving thoughts too. The two can do wonders. Again, it can even save lives and heal people.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, caller. Moving on, Dr. Blair, we have, let's see here, area code 856. Last 4 digits, 3593. Welcome to the program. What's your name? Where are you calling from? 856 area code 3593. Last 4 digits. Going once. Going twice. Okay, let's go and then on.
Heard, huh?
Yes, the ancient Tom McCann. Huh? Okay, area code 301. Last 4 digits, 8356. Welcome to the program. Where are you calling from?
Yes. Hello. I'm calling from Hyattsville, Maryland. And my name is Derek.
Welcome. Thank you, Derek.
Yes. My question was, when you were talking about the 3 days of darkness, were you referring to the fact, is this something that you see that way, or you're just referring to what the Japanese princess had referred to?
Well, I agree with the Japanese princess that we will have 3 days of darkness. I disagree with the Japanese empress that we will follow the 21st, which is supposedly the day of reckoning when the major arcana are fulfilled, that 6,500-year prophecy. I think we should see. I take nothing away from her. It's just different philosophical concepts, but at least we do agree. I think it might happen at 10 days later, when we're into 2013, and it might happen as we're into 2013, because my idea is just simply this. We will be blocked out from our 2 suns by another sun, and that sun will be more prominent as we get into the 5th dimension. That has been referred to by many as Nibiru, and I'll leave it there.
So in terms of the effect of all the electricity and everything going out, from that point, do you see that that's it for the electricity? It just won't ever come back on again, and we won't be able to use the equipment that we have, or there will be something new that will take place?
If a magnetic resonance comes from the sun, a CME, and it fries like I think that it will fry, you'll never be able to use electricity on this planet in this dimension again, because electricity and magnetism cannot coexist. A magnet and electricity is going to lose. Already we're getting brownouts to show you how easy it's done. If you remember, almost 4 or 5 years ago, they said in Niagara Falls there was something that happened, and then it was disconnected all the electrical generators. Then they said it was a twig in Minnesota on a tree. They make up any excuses they want. Magnetism is being emitted by our sun, and each day it goes brighter and stronger. That's why it gets cold outside, but you still have a lot of light, because cold magnetic energy is a very wonderful thing. It's a weapon in one sense. So I think once that's done, it will never be restored on this planet, on this vibration again. Now let me just contradict myself. On the dimension by those who do not ascend will be on, they will still think that the darkness prevails, and they will still go through all those changes. For those who are light, they not only will be able to see in magnetic light, but they'll be able to raise their thoughts, and this is what will be the difference between those who ascend in consciousness and those who stay in descent. It really won't be a descent. It will be that all the hells and all the evil that they're thinking now of, they will live through. We will not have to if you ascend.
Very interesting. Thank you, caller. Area code 410-7244 is the last 4 digits. Welcome to the program. State your name and where you're calling from.
This is Craig. I'm calling from Fort Meade, Maryland.
Yes, Rick.
I have about the caller that just called about the 3 days of darkness. I came across some information stating that we would have the 3 days of darkness due to the Earth slowing down in rotation, and then it wouldn't be the whole planet, but just that side that's facing away from the sun and the side that's facing the sun would have continuous light. And then the Earth would rotate the opposite way, and those who have that continuous light will see the sun rise from the east and set in the west, and again rise from the west and go to the east. Have you heard anything about this type of information?
I've heard similar, never heard it broken down as easy as you've broken it down, so I only say it could be. But let me state again, I think that the interposing sun or the interposing planet is Nibiru or Nebiru. And it is so large that if it comes there, no rotation will be good, because it will be 7 times larger than Earth and you won't be able to see through it. So again, we'll have to see how it goes. And as we get more into the 5th dimension, Nibiru will become more and more powerful, because it is our new sun as we're guided into the Milky Way. And it's called 5,280 resonance megahertz. That's why Q528 and the term 528 is being used so much. We'll see which one is right.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, caller. Let's see here, Dr. Blair. We've got, let's see, area code 718-3090 is the last 4 digits. Welcome to the program. State your first name. Where are you calling from?
Where?
718 area code 3090, the last 4 digits. Did you have a question for Dr. Blair?
I guess not.
Okay, I guess they didn't have a question for Dr. Blair. Dr. Blair, we got about 12 minutes or so left. Talk about the stuff that you got coming up again, and the information that you'll be sharing for the benefit of those who are just joining us. Joined us late.
This coming Saturday, which is a couple of days from now, at 4:30, I'm doing a telecom. Telecom, you can register for it by going up to our website. Somebody's in there with the phone on. Please muffle the phone because I'm getting a feedback. Thank you. Once you go there, which is www.themetacenter2.com. That's www.worldwideweb.themetacenter2.com. You'll see up there, Aware, Awake, and Relevant. That's where you sign up for. That's the lecture that we're doing by telecommunication. It'll be on a telecom. It'll be on your phone, but you have to pay $10 for it. We think that's a nominal cost. You would pay that in secondary payment. Normally it says you can't do it. You'll be able to do that. You put in the $10 first, or write in 10, and then it'll ask you for your credit card and all the rest of it again. Once you use that, leave your email. Now, you can leave a phone number, but it's much easier to e-blast than it is to call individuals. So you leave your phone number, and we will call you back and give you the number and the code to register for the $10 fee that you're going to pay from 3 to 4:30 Saturday. It's a telecommunication, and that's what we're asking you to do. After that one is, we got a big surprise coming up because I will be doing some traveling, and all of you will know where I'm going to be. Right now, support us, support me, and support yourself, because we're going to have aware, alert, and awaken people. Don't worry about can't talk to this friend or that person close to you. You'll be able to talk to all these thinkers come Saturday. And believe me, we got some lined up already that have a lot to say. Everybody will get a chance to voice this kind of different thing that they don't know who to talk to about. I think it's going to be a good time had by all.
There it is. There it is. Let's try. Excuse me. Whoa.
Yeah, you need some water too.
From?
You talked as much as I did.
Let's try. It looks like let's try 718 area code 3090 is the last 4 digits. Did you have a question for Dr. Blair? Okay. Well, we gave them. That's their second time around, so that's not. Dr. Blair, how important is it, just in general terms? Now, you talked a little bit earlier about soulmate. Just in general, how important is it through these changing times for people to be with somebody of like mind or a group of like mind, or is this ascension something that you can or possibly maybe even should do on your own and just, be part of a collective that's going to make it through it, in your observation?
I think the latter is the real answer. You're blessed if you can also find in this existence at this time people that like minds even there. See, people are making one big mistake, I think. This is my contention only. They're making a mistake. We're looking close to them for people to make their journey with them. And even say blood is thicker than water. Biggest lie ever told. It's the biggest lie at this time because the people in your own family may not be taking the same journey that you take. And you'll waste your time trying to pull them along with you, and both of you will fail. There are more kills and things through emotion in family structures. Look at the Thanksgiving, look at the Christmas and everything else. People can't get along for arguing. Do not walk to the new dimension with somebody you know. Walk with somebody that you love and that loves you. That automatically means you've gotten past the first hurdle. Once you get over there, you'll find many people walking with you that already think like you, so it doesn't matter what's blood or not, they will be thinking like you. That's why they're making the journey. You not only will find mates, but some of you may be fortunate enough to find it now. That's why I say if you can do that now, you're very fortunate. Either way, those who are of the same feather will go. Some may not even have feathers. Some may hooves, and some may have feet. But if they're compatible with you, you're blessed.
So there it is. I know a lot of people are under they're being misled. There's a lot of stuff, and I know you talk about it often, but I agree. It's an individual experience. You came here by yourself. You're leaving by yourself, and it's like a school of fish. We're supposed to move through this thing. So whatever happens, we are all we've got, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. Is there anything that you'd like to share with us that you haven't spoke on? We've got a few minutes left.
Yeah, a few minutes there again. Yes, I will be going into Baltimore come about the 14th of September, and I'll be getting more about that afterwards again to let you know where to be and how to be, and contact numbers there too. I will be holding workshops there, and I will be holding some consultations there. The consultation will be a minimum. And, of course, my consultations are all $50. That's not going to change. And so that's where that's going to be, and I'll be letting you know more about that. That's not the cost of admission to the workshop or to the lecture, but it is a consultation fee there again. So that'll be happening. For those out in California who are still trying to get me there, your time's running out. After September, I ain't going to California. At least that's not the way I feel now. Not without a lot of other people waking up and a lot of changes made. And we'll be going to the whys and wherefores on that Saturday as to what I think is going to be happening in the oceans and why. To say we're going to cover some heavy subjects. Other than that, I want to thank all of you who stuck with us tonight. It was interesting getting on tonight. It's interesting.
Yes.
Our because I have the brain, and anybody who helps me bring them, they seem to go through some changes too. So I'm glad you stuck with us again. Stay high in consciousness, and you know what I'm going to say now. Please, Universal Creator, know in my heart that I love you. Please protect me and this planet on which I live now. Please open my mind, my spirit, and my soul to receive only truth and your love now. Say it anytime things are dark. Say it anytime things are light. Say it anytime you need restoration that there is a Creator, because now you're saying you know that there's more than you, and you have faith in that Creator. Churches and religion will fall. The Creator will never fall, because you are the Creator in you. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Blair, we weren't quite, we had a few, we had a few minutes left, but hey, that's okay, because what you said, what you said, it still applies.
It's not a time now that I was gone, is somebody in the web?
Yeah, we're still on the air. I knew that it's been weird, and we wanted to make sure that if there was something that you was thrown off track at the beginning that you wanted to make mention. But we have another caller here, 910 area code 1207. Welcome to the program. State your name, where you call from, and have at it.
Hello?
Okay. Yes, we're listening for you.
Hello, Dr. Delbert Blair.
Hello?
I have a question. Yes, can you hear me?
We definitely are, and we're listening to you.
Okay. I work at a children's psychiatric ward at night, and there have been signs of a lot of strange things happening. One of my coworkers was working, and she said that she seen one of the kids. We have one of the little boys there. He's a black little boy, and said he was coming down the hall, but it actually wasn't him. It was like she thought it was him. He was coming towards her, and when it got in front of her, she said she seen that it wasn't him, and she said it like transferred into her body, and she said her body started burning, and she felt like real hot. It was like heat inside of her, and she was trying to call out for help, and she couldn't call out for help, and she said she was trying to call the other girl that worked with her name, and she said that instead of her saying the name, she said it's like it whispered the girl's name for her, and she said she was saying, she was trying to think Jesus, 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 and she said all of a sudden she said that she felt like the heat leave from her head and leave out through her feet where it had came in at, and it just rushed out of her body. And since then, there's been a lot of strange things, similar things happen, such as this. And I've been working there for the past 4 months, and these things such as this keeps occurring. And I want to know your input on it.
Well, if you ever see the tape, Psychiatry, Industry of Death, and if you can't find it, we will make it for you and send it to you. We'll charge a basic. Everybody on this planet should see that movie at least one time. Once you do that, your feelings for psychiatry, psychology, and the whole thing mean nothing. You'll almost begin to hate them, simply because you understand the history behind it. So when you begin to do to people what they do in many cases, and what their history has shown that they're prone to do, and the false books that they've written, anything could go in there, because the people might even be haunting that place. That's the best thing I could say. Till you see the movie, trust my judgment. Watch it, and then you agree, maybe with me, maybe with no.
Well, okay, and another thing, I have to work, but I've been afraid to work there since then. You know, everybody that works at night, because we work at night, things usually start happening about 3 o'clock every night, and I've been wondering if I should stay there, if it was healthy, or if these things that was going on could actually do me any harm that could actually, physically harm my body.
Well, physical harm can always be done physically, but through the mind, many things are done physically. I would say this: if if your first mind keeps telling you to leave, leave. You can afford to take a leave of absence, then fine. If you have to lose money, then fine. But in many cases, if you carry the right energy around you, it will protect you from some of the things that are happening to others. It doesn't necessarily have to happen to you. And as I say, if you find the history of that institution and that building, you probably find that there's a lot of people that went crazy there that weren't, and a lot of people that weren't crazy will be, because they're seeing things now that as we get to different dimensions. You're going to have to make that judgment for yourself. The money versus this peace of mind. That will have to be your decision. I can't make that for you.
I understand. Thank you. And you're right, because when you come on the site, it looks like it used to be a plantation. And everybody that works that night is black, and all the people that work on first and second is white.
Well, we have to stop right there in the flesh.
Okay.
So, thank you, sister.
Thank you. Dr. Blair, for some reason, and I guess this is as good as anything to go out on. For some reason, the other night, I was drawn to watch two movies in their entirety. One was Goodbye, Uncle Tom, and the other was The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Two very powerful films that were both ahead of their time and very controversial. But it's just an interesting time we're going through. And the sister said, I know somebody scheduled her the schedule to make sure that the black people work when the spirits are moving around. But as you say many times, the good news is the spirit world, that's our world anyway. There's nothing to be scared of, and nobody dies, so false evidence appearing to be real is just that.
Well, yeah, that's what you say, fear. I love that again. Yeah, well, every time we come out of our body and we actually die. And we have to come back to our body because our bodies have to get itself cleaned up, and we have to go out and really learn what truth is to get back in and live this falsehood. So more and more we go and we meditate, we take the chlorophyll, we'll be able to stay out of these bodies longer, and we'll be able to also understand as we bridge the realm between ascension and descension. That's one of our privileged souls on this planet at the time.
That's right. Take the chlorophyll and stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll get to do this again next week. And thank you again, Dr. Blair. And I appreciate your support, your work, your dedication, and your candor even through challenging times. And we'll just leave it at that. I want to thank the audience that participated today. Shout out to my good